Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 3 of the Enigma mandalas, and in this part the medium mandala, which is the small one, we're going to grow further up to the large size, and by doing that we're going to be adding these flower petals to the mandala and just finishing the project as a whole. So let's get started with the last part of Enigma mandalas. For round 18 we're going to start with the medium mandala, so that's this one here, and then grow it further. So if you haven't made the medium mandala yet, do that. So the first 17 rounds, then we'll continue from here. A few words on where to start. It doesn't matter where you start from a stitch point of view. You can start on any position on this edge, doesn't matter. But if you would like the petals, we're going to be making flower petals, 12 of them. If you want them to be in a certain orientation in terms of where your center flower is, or in terms of where your popcorn flowers are, then keep that in mind, because wherever you want the center of your petals to be, just start 2 stitches before that. So for example, if you want them to line up with this flower petal here, then find that center stitch and then just go 2 stitches back. But if you don't care where you start, then just start in any random position. But just know that it's going to orient or basically turn your stitches depending on where you start. So just a few words on that. So I'm just going to zoom in now, and then we'll start round 18. Round 18, new color yarn on my hook. And in whichever stitch you want to start there with a standing single crochet. So I'm going to start here and start there with a standing single. There you go. You're now going to skip a stitch, so I'm going to skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after work 6 doubles. So skipping the stitch, and that's 1. Now 5 more, because you want 6 in that one stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yes, one more, 6. I wasn't sure for the moment. So 6 doubles in the one stitch. Skip the next stitch. Now be careful, because these stitches kind of tend to fall over the next one. So this is where you're currently at. Skip the next stitch and then come after and work a single. And then this is the first of 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is number 9. There we go. And this 9th stitch is actually the same as the first stitch we just started with. So this is your full repeat. Repeat this all the way around. So I'll just get you started on the next. So that means you're now going to skip 1 stitch, and in the stitch after work those 6 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then of course you would complete that and work 6 as well. So repeat this, so the 6 doubles and then the 9 singles all the way around, and when on your last repeat you'll work only 8 singles, and then you'll close to your first one with the slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Round 19, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start after the petal. So here's the petal, these 6 doubles are the petal. After any petal, go to the second single crochet. So we've got here the first one, come to the second, and start in that second one with a standing single. So in that first stitch, a standing single crochet. Now a single in the next 6. So 1, 2, 3, and 6. So you have 7 there in total. You have 1 single crochet left. I'm going to skip that stitch, and now we're going to start on the petal. The first stitch, so this first double, gets first a half double. So in this stitch, like a half double, and around the stitch a front post double. So yarn over, so this means around the same stitch, front post double. Now come to the second stitch. Second stitch gets a double. So first in the stitch, a double, and then around the stitch a front post treble. So yarn over twice, and now around the post of the same stitch. So this means going a little bit back, the front post treble. 2. What you just did here, repeat that on the next stitch also. So it's a double in the stitch, and then around the post of the stitch a front post treble. You're now halfway the petal, and everything we just did we're going to do again, but in reverse, like in a mirror image. So this side is going to be a mirror image of the next. If that makes it easier to remember what the next step is. So now we're going to start with a front post treble around the stitch. So yarn over twice. So a front post treble. And then in the stitch a double. So this means coming a little bit back, and that's what the stitch there. Same stitch gets the double. Repeat again on the next stitch. So yarn over twice for the front post treble. And then a double crochet in the stitch, so folding your work just a little bit so you can really get into that stitch there at the back. One stitch left here. You start with the front post double around the stitch. And then in the stitch a half double. Half double. That completes the entire petal. Skip the next stitch, which is going to be your first single here. I'm going to skip that there, and come to the next and work the first of 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And of course these 7 are the same as those 7. So now you're at the next petal. You're going to repeat what you just did here. So take these stitches just as one stitch at a time, and go all the way around. When you're back to the beginning, close on that first stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Around 20, new color yarn on my hook, and we're again going to start after any flower petal, and again in the second single crochet. So here's the first one, then come to the second and start there with a standing single. Over the next 3 stitches, work a single crochet 3 together. So in the first stitch, pick up a loop, in the second, pick up a loop, and in the third, pick up a loop. 4 loops on your hook, take them all off. in one go. Next stitch, 1 single crochet. This really pinches your work together because the petals are going to become larger now. You have 1 single crochet left. We're going to skip that stitch and then we start on the petal. Now the first stitch of the petal is this half double. On there, work a half double. So skipping the single, come to the half double and work a half double in there. And now a front post double around the same stitch. So yarn over, coming a little bit back around that stitch, a front post double. The next stitch is a front post double. This one gets another front post double. So yarn over, front post double around that stitch. The double crochet here gets 2 doubles, so 2 doubles in the one stitch, and you're going to just pull your work to the side to really see that stitch. 2 doubles in there. 1 and 2. The front post treble gets a front post treble. So yarn over twice. Around that stitch, a front post treble. 2, 3 times, taking off 2 loops. The next stitch gets 2 trebles. So yarn over twice. Again, pulling your work to the side, you can really see that stitch. 2 trebles in there. So 1. Again, yarn over twice. And that is 2. You're now at the top of the petal. You have here these 2 front post stitches. You're going to work a front post double treble 2 together. So that means yarn over 3 times. So because once is a double, twice is a treble, and then 3 times it's a double treble. So yarn over 3 times. And you really want to watch this first loop, the one that's closest to the handle of your hook. Keep that loop as small as possible. That'll help to make your stitches neat. I'm just going to hold my finger on these loops. Now come to the first leg of these 2, this first one there. Pick up a loop, take off 2, take off 2, take off 2. I'm going to repeat this again, so yarn over 3 times, come to the next stitch, pick up a loop, take off 2, 1, 2, 3 times, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. So that was a front post double treble 2 together. So coming back down, I'm going to start in the next stitch. So this is the double there with 2 trebles. So yarn over twice. That's 1 treble and 2 trebles. Front post treble gets a front post treble, so yarn over twice. 1, 2, 3. Next stitch gets 2 doubles. 1, 2. Front post double gets a front post double. And your last stitch here, that's the half double. First you start with a front post double around the stitch, and this one you really need to dig out a little bit on there, that's the stitch. And then come back and work a half double in it. There. So you really need to dig that stitch out a little bit. There. And that was the entire petal. So I'm going to complete the repeat, skipping the next single. So that stitch, come here, work a single, and then of course a single 3 together. So 1, 2, 3, and then on the next stitch another single. And now you're of course at the same point here, so here you're going to start your next petal. Repeat this all the way around. After your last petal, close here on your first stitch with a slip stitch, and then leave your yarn attached for the next round. Round 21. Currently in the first stitch of the previous round with a slip stitch, and we're going to continue with the same color. So, chain 1. This is not a stitch, this is just to get you up to the right height. Over these 3 stitches here in the middle, so where you're currently at the 3 together stitch and the next single, going to work a single crochet 3 together. So in the current position and in this stitch and in the last single here, pick up a loop on those 3. Then yarn over and take them all off. Single 3 together. On the next 3 stitches work a single crochet. So the first one here is on the half double. That's 1, 2, 3 singles. Next 4 stitches work a half double. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you go. The next stitch gets a double. Just 1 double. Now you should be at the top of the petal, so this is the 2 together stitch. In there we're going to work 2 doubles, a treble and 2 doubles. So in this one stitch, so right here at the top, work 2 doubles, so it's 1, 2, then a treble, so yarn over twice, treble, and then 2 more doubles in the same stitch. 1 and 2. So you've worked 5 stitches in that one stitch. So 2 doubles, a treble, and 2 doubles. Now I'm going to come down and do the same as we did coming up. So that means a double in the next stitch, then 4 half doubles in the next stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And that should bring you at the end of the flower petal. Now you've got these 3 stitches here in the center, these 3. I'm going to work a single crochet 3 together over those. Pick up a loop on the single, pick up a loop on the 3 together stitch, and the loop on the next single, and take off in one go. And this is of course exactly the same as the stitch we started with. So we've just done here on this petal, do this on the other 11 also. When you're all the way around, close here on this first stitch, so this 3 together stitch, close there with a slip stitch, and then oh no, sorry, not with a slip stitch but with an invisible join, so that's important because the next round is all back post stitches. So close there with an invisible join. Round 22 of a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the stitch after the single crochet 3 together. There's a 3 together stitch, and we come to the stitch after. We're going to be working back post single crochets. Now the first one is of course a standing stitch, so in that stitch immediately after the 3 together stitch there around the post, so that means just grabbing it and bring it back. It's a standing back post single crochet. You need to do 9 more, so that'll bring you to the tip of the petal. It's 1, and it'll be 10 in total, so 1 plus 9. Just do all of these with you. The first 2 stitches were of course around a single crochet, and now you're making these back post singles around a half double. So then there's a little bit more room to actually make the stitch. So just this round takes a little bit of time, these back post stitches, they don't always go fast. And let me see, I think it's one, this is the last one. Let me just count them. So I have the first standing one as 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 plus 9, so this is 10 in total. Then the next stitch should be the treble here, right at the top. And around that stitch, you're going to make 3 back post half doubles. I'm just going to stack them on top of each other. So yarn over, so around the post of that treble. So 1, and then this is 2. And then this is 3 back post half doubles. Now I'm going to come down the other way, and then we do 10 back post singles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's the last one. 10. There we go. You're now at the end of the petal, and the next stitch here is the single crochet 3 together. You just skip that stitch and then come up the next petal and work 10 back post singles. So skipping the 3 together stitch, come to the next stitch. There. So you see how you skip that 3 together stitch. And now you're working 10 back post singles along this edge, and you can see how these 10, how they are the same as the stitches we started with. and that you're then going to repeat all the way around. So you can see how these 10 stitches are the same as those 10 stitches. So I'll just continue, I'll just finish these 10 with you. And then when you get at the top, you of course need to work those 3 back post stitches, those 3 back post half doubles in the top stitch in the treble. And you're going to go all the way around. And this is the last one. And then the next stitch here gets 3 back post half doubles, which is of course the same as those 3. So what you've done here, repeat this all the way around, and when you're here, you're going to come down and work your last 10 back post singles, skipping the 3 together stitch, and then close here on the first standing single, which is there. It's closing on that stitch with a slip stitch, and then leave your yarn attached because we're using the same color in the next round. Round 23, have the stitch joined to the first stitch of the previous round, and we're going to continue with the same color. Now, the first thing to do is to just slip stitch to the next stitch. There we go. Chain 1. This is not a stitch, just to get you up. In the same stitch where you're currently in, a half double. And a half double on the next 4 also. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So this is 5 in total. Our first one plus 4 more. In the next 5 stitches, a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next stitch, which should be the second of the 3 back post half doubles, it's that second stitch. This one gets 3 singles in the one stitch. 1, 2, 3. Now going to come down the other side of the petal, starting with 5 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the next 5 stitches, a half double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're now at the valley between 2 petals. You have 1 stitch left on this petal, and then of course the next petal. What we're going to work on the next 2 stitches, so it's 1 stitch on either side of the petal, is a double crochet 2 together. Yarn over the first stitch, pick up a loop, take off, and then come to the next stitch with the same. So yarn over, take off 2 loops on your hook, and take them both off, or 3 loops I should say. Now on the next petal we start again with 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these 5 are of course the same as those 5. So now again 5 singles and then the tip and everything. So this petal, repeat this on all the others as well. And when you're all the way around, you're going to finish here with a double crochet 2 together, and then close here over the first stitch. So that you do that by closing to the second, of course, with an invisible join. So your needle is going to go into the second stitch, and then you'll cover that first stitch with with the 2 bands to make that invisible join. So go all the way around, close with an invisible join, and then I'll see you for the next round. Round 24 of a new color yarn on my hook. In this round we're going to work all stitches in the back loops. We're going to start in the first single crochet on any petal. So you have here, you had the half doubles, and at a certain point a single crochet starts. So in that first single crochet, there's this one, back loop, start with a standing single. Also work a single on the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So that's 4 in total, and they're all done in the back loop. Now chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to skip the next 5 stitches and then work 4 singles. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and then come to the next stitch here and work the first of 4 singles. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's important at this point, just flip this chain here to the back. We're working this later, but just keep it to the back of your work. So 4 singles either side, and then these 5 singles here in the middle, they're left empty for now, and the chain 5 to the back. Continuing on the next 2 stitches, work a half double. 1, and 2. Next 3 stitches, we're going to work a double crochet 3 together. So yarn over. It's 1 leg and the second and the third leg, and take them all off in one go. The next stitch here is the single crochet, the double crochet 2 together. I'm going to skip this stitch and then come to the other side and work again double crochet 3 together. So skipping the next stitch, then it's 1, 2, 3, and take them off. This skipped stitch here, we're going to work on that in the next round. The next 2 stitches get a half double. 1, 2, and now the next 4 stitches get a single. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I hope you can see that these 4 singles are the same as these 4 singles here that we started with. So we're now at the same point. We will work a chain 5, skip 5 stitches, and then work 5 singles the other way, and of course move your chain to the back of the petal. Now repeat this all the way around, and when you're to the first stitch, just close on there with a slip stitch and leave your yarn attached. Just at the end of round 24, and what's important at this point is, I've just closed with that slip stitch, is that you just put a stitch marker or something in this loop, because you're going to leave your yarn attached, but round 25 is with a different color. We're going to come back and pick this up in a moment after round 25. Yarn, I'm just going to keep this yarn tail short, and just keep everything to the front of your work. So your yarn tail and everything to the front, so that nothing can happen to it. Keep this to the front, and then we'll work around 25, and around 26 we'll pick this color back up. Around 25 I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in these 5 single crochets that we skipped in the previous row, keeping the chain space to the back. That's important. Start in this first single crochet with a standing single. That's one, and now we work 4 more, so 1 in each of these stitches. 2, 3, 4, and that's 5 in total. That's the standing stitch and 4 more. All the time this chain space here is to the back. We're going to work in that later. Chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chains. I've purposefully left this here so you can see what we do with that. These yarn tails, just keep them to the front. We're now going to work a treble popcorn in this skipped double crochet 2 together that we skipped on the previous row. So in that stitch, you're going to work a treble popcorn. And that means yarn over twice, insert in that stitch, and be sure to keep these stitches here to keep them to the back. And now we work a treble in here, and this is actually the first of 5 because we need to work 5 trebles to work the popcorn. 2 trebles, and all the time be sure to keep your stitches here to the back, that you don't work over them. 3, 4, and 5. There we go, 5 trebles. Open up that loop, and then come to the first of the 5, insert your hook, pick your working loop back up, and pull your working loop through that first stitch, and chain 1 to complete the popcorn. Chain 9 again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chains. That means there are 10 here in total, so where the first one belongs to the popcorn, and then 9 more. Skipping everything that's in between, come to the next tip here where you have these 5 unworked stitches, and work a single crochet on each of those. That's 1, 2, this is 3, 4, and 5. There you go, 5 singles. Again, be sure to keep your chain to the back. And this is the repeat because these 5 singles are of course the same as those. So now you're going to do a chain 9, work a popcorn here in the next skipped stitch, which was here, this position here. Going to work a treble popcorn. Well, go all the way around. When you get back to the first stitch, you're going to work your last chain 9, then close here with a slip stitch, and you can also fasten off. Round 26, we're going to start by just picking up our yarn. Here we put out that stitch marker in round 24. I'm just going to pick up working yarn from there. There we go. Now we're ready to continue. It's important in this round we're going to be working in front of these chain spaces so that they fall to the back of our work. Start with a chain 1, that doesn't count as a stitch. Now in the current stitch where you're currently at, work a half double. And a half double in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to come to the chain space here to the back. That's in the same colors that you currently have. In that chain space, work 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 single crochets. We're now going to continue in the next stitches, but what's important is that we're in front of this chain space. So what could happen is that you now can just continue and then these chain spaces are at the wrong place. So just make sure they're to the back. And we're going to work half doubles. So here in the first stitch, work a half double. You can see how I'm really folding my work here to the back. That's 1, and this is the first of 4, so that's 1, 2, three, and here this is 4. There we go. 4 half doubles. And now you don't see these chains from the front anymore. The next stitch gets a double. So 1 double. And the next 2 stitches get a treble. So yarn over twice for a treble. And yarn over twice more for another treble. And you're just going to have to, it's just there next to the popcorn. Be sure to miss that chain space. There we go. Now I'm going to work around the popcorn. That one gets a front post double. So yarn over. That basically just means scooping the popcorn. And then complete the double. Now on the other side of the popcorn, same story. Be sure to stay in front of that chain space and then just dig up the stitches. I'm going to start up with a treble. In that first stitch, this is a double crochet 3 together. In that stitch there, work a treble. And in the next stitch also work a treble. One double in the next stitch, a double, and there are 4 stitches left here. Work a half double on each of those. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next up would again be the chain space here to the back, where you work 6 singles. And I hope you can see that at this point you're into the next repeat. 3, 4, 5, 6, because these 6 are of course exactly the same as those 6 there. And then again a half double on the first stitch there. Just be sure to really stay in front of that chain space. And that's it. Go all the way around. So I'm really well into the next repeat already. So go all the way around, repeat all these stitches. Be sure, you really want to make sure these chains are to the back. It's just that they're meant to be hidden. That the pattern here is the popcorn. This is the one you want to see. So we're just going to keep them to the back. Go all the way around, and here after your last trebles and your last double, close here on the first half double, close there with a slip stitch and leave your yarn attached. Around 27, close in that first stitch with a slip stitch, and we're going to continue with the same color. This round we're going to be working a double crochet in every stitch, and when we get here to this front post double, we're going to work 2 in there. Our first double is a chain 3, and then work another double in every stitch. I'm going to do that for 16 stitches, which will bring you to that front post double. Like I say, you just work 1 on every stitch, and I'll just make a jump in the video. There we go. So all those doubles worked, and then the next stitch here is the front post double that's around the popcorn. This stitch gets 2 doubles. 1, 2 in that stitch. And again continue, work double on every stitch until you get to the next front post double, and then work 2 in there. Continue like this all the way around, and when you get back to the first stitch, I'm going to close here with an invisible join. Round 28, we're going to be working flower petals like this on the tip of all our flowers. So you have these 5 singles here, we're going to be working flower petals. Start with the slip knots on your hook, and then dig out the chain space and attach there with the slip stitch. In the first stitch, 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next stitch, a slip stitch. So we're going to repeat 2 more times. So the next stitch again, 5 half doubles. So those 5 half doubles make the flower petal, and then there are slip stitches in between. 5 half doubles and a slip stitch. And repeat again. The next stitch gets 5 half doubles. 3, I need a bit more yarn. 5. And then to finish off this petal, in the chain space here, make a slip stitch. You can cut your yarn, fasten off. I'm just going to make an extra knot in here. So fasten off. This was 1 little petal. I've got 2 here already. Work them on every one of these bits. Work these little petals, and then I'll see you for the next round. Round 29. Don't worry about these yarn tails now. On the petals, I'll show you what to do with them later. On 29, going to work a back post double on every stitch. So yarn over. Doesn't matter where you start. First one is of course a standing back post double, but just go all the way around. Work a back post double on every stitch. Just go with the flow on these stitches, one at a time. 1 back post double on every stitch, and when you get back to the beginning, close there with a slip stitch and leave your yarn attached. Before we continue to attach this mandala to the ring, I'd actually like to show you how to work away the yarn tails on these flower petals, because at this point we're going to actually be attaching them to the mandala with the yarn tails. You'll see how this is actually attached here. I'm just going to show you how to do that using these yarn tails. So I'm going to sew this petal to my work. Actually, I've got my work upside down here, and that's on purpose. I'm going to start with one yarn tail and then just put that on my needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the needle back and then come up and sew it to my work. And I've just found that if I have my work upside down, that works easiest. So I'm taking this yarn tail, I'm just going to push it to the back and then bring it forward. And then when you bring it forward, just catch the first petal. Now I'm going to catch one of these loops from the back post stitches there, and then I'm just going to work a little bit through the second petal and pull your yarn through. You can already pull it a little tight. I'm going to do the same here, just going to catch one of those back post loops there and go through the third petal. If you pull it tight, you can already see how it's getting to be where it has to be. And then again catch one of these back post loops here. It's more or less in the vicinity of where you are, and just catch the petal again. And now you'll notice that the petal is nicely secured to your work. This one, I'm just going to push this here to the back. And then secure through these stitches. And I like to go back and forth 3 times on these. And cut this off. This yarn tail here, this yarn tail here, this one you don't need this one to secure anything. So I'm just going to pull this one, bring it to the base of the flower there, and then just pull it to the back. A little short. There we go. So just pull it to the back and then work it into the same base here. It shouldn't be a problem, there's enough room there. There. And again. And again, I just cut that yarn tail. And that secures this flower petal, and you can really see how it's this whole floppiness is gone now. This is what I've just done on this petal. Do it for all the petals, and then we're ready to continue. Last thing to do, attach the large mandala to the large ring. If you see, again, you're smaller than the ring is, so again the idea is that you stretch this up and that it falls well into the mandala. So size, let me just find, I just had to find my tape measure. Now, where are we on size? In terms of centimeters, you are at 36 centimeters diameter. If you turn that to inches, that's 14 inches. That's where you should be with your mandala right now. And then it fits into the large ring, the 40 centimeter ring. I'm going to again use the same footage to show you how to join this, because it's the same idea as with the small and the medium mandala. Now to join this to the ring, chain 1. This is not a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct working height, and I'm just going to zoom in a little further so that you can really see what I'm doing on attaching this ring. Going to work a single crochet 2 together in the current stitch, the next stitch, and the ring. Now what do we do? So we're currently here in this stitch with a slip stitch, so I'm inserting my hook into that stitch where I'm currently at, and because there's a slip stitch there, might be a little snug. So into the stitch, then go with your hook underneath the ring and the yarn is over the ring, and pick up the yarn from the back and bring it forward. Now come to the next stitch, insert your hook into that stitch, go underneath the ring. Your yarn is already here to the back, so grab that yarn and bring it forward. You now have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and take them all off. And that was a single crochet 2 together, worked over the current stitch and the next stitch and the ring. This idea we're going to repeat all the way around, so I'll show you again. In the current stitch, so that's the stitch where we just finished, so you're going to, in that same position, insert your hook, go underneath the ring, the yarn is from the top, grab your yarn, bring it forward. Come to the next stitch, go underneath the ring, pick up the yarn from the back, bring it forward and take it off and pull through. And it's important to always take the stitch where you finished as your first yarn over. The reason is that this will result in just more loops covering the ring, so that's why we're doing it this way, as opposed to just working single crochets all the way around, which is of course an option. It's definitely an option, but by doing this, what's happening is that you're going to have more yarn overs covering the ring, so you're going to be hiding the ring better. So that's the idea. So in the current stitch and the next stitch, and then take them off. And this is a slow process, so you're going to have to take your time on working these stitches. So I'm going to make a jump in the video, and then I'll be all the way around, and then I'll just show you the closing, because I'm going to close this with an invisible join. So go all the way around. When you're further through, you'll have to start stretching the mandala and just giving it, easing these stitches around the ring as it stretches up. But continue like this, a single crochet 2 together in the current stitch, the next stitch, and the ring. And when you're here, then I'll see you back. Almost all the way around. I have a few stitches left. See, I've got one unworked stitch there, so current stitch and the next stitch, that's still unworked, so that means here, and then also the next one, and take them off. And the last stitch will be in, well, both of them will be worked already, because you've got here this stitch which already has a loop, of course, and the next stitch which is the stitch where we started, so there's that slip stitch in there. So both of these already have a stitch. So that's one, and then here I'm just going to eyeball where I put it, because it can be a little tricky to get there in there. There, and take off. And that was the last stitch. It looks a little messy here, but don't worry, we're going to fix that. Cut your yarn and open up this loop. going to thread the yarn on my needle. And to make this look more pretty, I'm just going to come into you can either take this stitch or the next stitch, it really doesn't matter, because the idea is we're going to pull this tight anyway. So I'm actually going to take that stitch, I'm going to work over this one. And then pull this a little tight, closing that stitch, and then come back into the last stitch worked in there. And just push that a little to the back and grab a loop or two at the back also. That'll just help to secure this yarn. And pull this a little tight, closing these stitches and closing this gap. You can see how pretty it now looks. So I'm just going to work away this yarn tail and the one that's to the back here. I do that if I just turn it around by just working into the stitches here that are just under the ring. I kind of tend to hide it there. I'm just going to work away these yarn tails and then we're finished. When you've finished your mandala, this is more or less what it looks like. This is a different colorway than before, but you've got the flower petals, everything's in the ring. Now you have the small, the medium and the large mandala finished. Brings us to the end of this project. I want to thank you for watching and I hope to see you again soon for a new project.